again, and today we're going to be reviewing Natalie Babbitt's Tuck Everlasting. And I'll start with this one fact, that I found this book really fascinating and interesting because it toyed with the concept of life and time. Because the Tucks in this story are immortal. They can't die. They literally can't die. Because Tuck literally tries to shoot himself with a shotgun. But really, he shot himself with a shotgun and he wasn't even harmed. It just went through him like you shot a bullet into water, as they put it. So he literally can't die. As Jesse fell off a tree, everyone thought he must have broken his neck. He was completely fine. Anyways, so in this story, as I read it, and after I read it, I started wondering, is immortal life, is never-ending life, would that be a blessing or a curse? Because if somebody offered you immortality, then at first everyone would go like, oh wow, that sounds awesome, yes, I'd love it to be immortal. But then eventually, as time goes on and as you reflect on it more and more, then you might start to realize, like I did, that never-ending life it couldn't really be completely a blessing, because there are a lot of what ifs, such as like, what if my loved ones and family weren't immortal? Do I have to just watch them die as I just live on forever and ever? And like, what if I make friends and eventually, as the years go on, they realize I never get any older. They age, but I don't. And in the Tuck's time, they described it as witchcraft. And what if you were immortal in modern day, like now? Then if they found out about that, then they probably want to take blood samples from you or something, because immortal life is fascinating. I bet you that people would want to know a lot more about immortal life. But really, if everybody in this world was immortal, then eventually Earth would get crowded and crowded and crowded, more and more crowded, because nobody would die, but humans would still reproduce. So then eventually, there would be no space left. So if you think about it, then if nobody could ever die, then if you think about it, that doesn't really sound like a very great place to live on. And as Tuck puts it, life is a wheel. You're born, you live your life, you die, blah blah blah. And life is a wheel that keeps on turning around no matter what. But for the Tucks, he says that the Tuck family, they fell off the wheel and they can't get back on again. Really, I put it like, second comes after second. So life is limited for all of us. Second comes after second after second, minute after minute, hour after hour, day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, until eventually you die. So that's the way I put it. But the Tucks, the minutes, the hours, the days, the weeks, the months, the years, they never end. They just keep on going. So really, then time loses value, because time, for us, since life is limited, you suddenly realize that time is valuable, that you can never ever ever go back to 2 seconds ago. You can't ever go back in time, because each second you use it once. You live through each second once. And you can never, ever live that second again. No matter how hard you try, unless one day somebody discovers how to do time traveling, you can never relive that second. Because that second, it's gone. So then you realize soon enough, if you keep on thinking about it, then you realize that time is so precious that each second is worth like $1 million, because no matter how rich you are, no matter how much money you pay, you can never buy time. But the Tucks, it's not really like that, because time, suddenly, they're immortal, so time just loses all value. Time, suddenly, it's just another thing in life. So, really, I found it fascinating how Miss Natalie Babbt, she toyed with this concept in this book. And I really have nothing bad to say about this book. I'm just saying that if I had written it, or if I could change anything about it, the only thing that I would change is that May was so weak and tired when they broke her out of jail, because when she was arrested, then yes, she hung her head, she was very, very weak, because obviously she's amazingly, obviously she's very ashamed of killing a man, because from what we know about May throughout this book, May is supposed to be this kind, sweet character, and you never expect that she'd actually kill someone or go to jail for murder. So you realize soon enough that, so what I really think is that she should have been at least like somewhat strong or awake when they broke her out of jail, because yes, it's 12 o'clock. Yes, after living for years and years and years, she might be kind of sick of life. But she acted just so weak, and she's just like hanging limp over the horse's side, because she's just so tired. Because she's not exactly young, but she's not exactly old either. So really, I would have just made her more stronger during this scene, because you can't really describe May as old, because after drinking the water, she was like 47 or so forever. So despite the fact that she lived year after year after year, every year she's been the same age. So you can't really describe that as young, but you can't really describe that as old. So I would have just made her stronger, since personally I don't think you can really say, oh, she was old so she was weak and she was tired. So that's all, because everyone was really energetic about this. Everyone was wide awake when they broke her out, so why wasn't May wide awake? Anyway, so moving on from that, I think that in this book, the author was trying to portray or emphasize the fact that time is limited. And as I said in my first point, time is limited. Because I think that this book, Miss Natalie Babbt, I think that she was trying to emphasize the fact that you should think about how you use your time. Like, for example, take a moment to think about the time when COVID-19 first happened, and when COVID-19 was like this big thing, everyone was like, oh my god, we're gonna die. And when just going to the grocery store, getting the groceries, and coming back with a huge and noble feat if you didn't get sick after doing it. So that was just a tremendously amazing, wondrous thing to do. So that time, all the schools closed down because everyone was terrified. So everybody really tried to limit their time going outside because they didn't want to get coronavirus. So how did you use that time? Because if you think back for a second, you can ask yourself, did I sit around watching TV and doing nothing? Did I pursue a new interest? Was I productive at all? So I think that that's what the author was trying to get people to think after or as they read the book, because time is limited, and I think that she's just trying to get across the point that time is very, very limited, and that you should think about how to use your time wisely. So that's all I have to say about this book. I'll give it a 5 out of 5 stars because when I found this book very fascinating, I found it interesting, and I loved the story, I loved the plot, I loved all of it. So thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and see you next week. Bye!